It. Worth your time.
In a world set in 2077, as the name of the game implies.
Yeah, so Cyberpunk 2077. This is a game set in a dystopian, futuristic world in 2077 to be exact. Centered around a character named V. He's, I guess, interpreted in 3 different ways.
Yes.
It's the same character across all, same kind of rough storyline, but it does differentiate in interesting ways as we've come up with. But he basically sets out on a path of various crimes at first. I don't know if yours is a criminal. Mine's kind of criminal. Anyways, they get to the point where they kind of gets this interesting diversion in his path, which leads him to another virus type scenario that tries to take over his mind by the name of Johnny.
And it is a game where you hack things, and you hack things that hack the hacker. And if you can't hack it, you shoot it in the face. And if you can't shoot it in the face, you drive through its face.
That is what the game is, essentially. It's basically an open world adventure story, folks, set in Night City. It's basically this mega city that's, all about the futuristic, basically the world. It's all consumeristic. It's you can buy everything. There's no part of your body that you can't modify. There's no part of your soul that you can't sell.
You can buy people. You can buy cars. You can buy everything. Everything is commercialized. Everything has a vending machine equivalent, including eyeballs, and if you want a new eyeball, and if you want a new CPU to your brain,
you can do it. You can do it all. Everything's for sale. Everything's for blow up. Basically, glamour and body modification, all that stuff is like the name of the game. It's kind of the fun parts. But you play as V, like we said. He's a mercenary, an outlaw. He's basically, I think you said something about like he's an implant that's like key to immortality. I think that's like the whole shebang.
Yeah, the main crux of the game is about immortality and experiencing the world and what it means to be alive and sentient. And it does this in very, very open world, every angle that you could possibly imagine sort of way. And so spend some time with Night City. We're going to talk about Cyberpunk 2077.
I'm sure we look pretty.
We always look pretty.
Yes, I hear now. Okay, folks, this is a new thing that we're doing, reviewing stuff for your pleasure. We are basically setting out on that path. So I'm your host, Widied. This is your other host,
Pfarcus.
And if you like this type of content, drop us a like, leave us a comment, subscribe, hit the little notification bell. That'll tell you when we're active and all that other crap. And so, the situation. Apparently, CD Projekt Red has burned down everybody's house, stolen their children, lit them all on fire. It's a terrible, terrible thing that these people have done.
Yep.
Yeah, so you would swear, anyways, that that's the case.
For those who might have either not paid attention to this release or don't know the game we're talking about and are totally surprised by CD Projekt Red and the internet and such things. CD Projekt Red has been developing Cyberpunk 2077 for literally about 8 years now. When they released it, there was an embargo that they placed on review copies. They didn't give out any early copies for the consoles. Obviously, different developers have different release dates in terms of review copies for whatever reason. A lot of people speculated that it was because the last gen consoles were broken, that the console releases weren't going to work very well. We will discuss whether or not that is the case. But for whatever reason, basically after the game actually was dropped, you basically had 2 camps of people. Those who played the game and enjoyed it and just kind of shut their pie hole. And those who basically took torches and went to the streets and cried out that CD Projekt Red was the Antichrist and needed to be stopped. And, oh my God, can't you think of the children?
So not only will we be tackling I guess we'll coin the phrase, is this game worth your time? That is a topic, but we'll also probably coin of whether or not this fiasco is as much of a fiasco as well. So, on that note, was it worth your time?
Yes, it was really worth my time. So I'll just give a few thoughts. I've been playing it for a few days now. I'm quite a few hours in. Played quite a few of the side missions. Have not 100% of the game. It does take about 200 hours plus to do so. So bear with me. I haven't had that much time with the game, but I have had enough time in the game to have the distinct impression that I very much so have been having a absolute blast. The game is absolutely gorgeous, even though I've heard that the next gen, like the PS5 and the Series X versions, are kind of the last gen, and they're only going to be updated in, I guess, January or February 2021. Even that being said, the game is gorgeous. Like, there's weather effects all over the place. There's a shiny gloss to this Neo Tokyo Night City. So for those who don't know, you're playing in a city that's called Night City, and you're kind of making your way through different missions as a cyberpunk, hence the name, in this fictional Night City that is kind of like a Neo Tokyo, Neo New York City kind of futuristic neuromancer kind of world. And one of the things that I love about the game is it's absolutely beautiful, but also every inch of it is well thought out. All the side missions have impeccable writing for the script. There's side missions that have made me chuckle, where I thought it was just going to be a little fetch mission, but I end up falling in love with AI cars. I don't want to say too much about any of the specifics in terms of the story, but I will say there's some moments that are touching. There are some moments that are hilarious. But there's never any moment that's boring, no matter.
There's some
what.
moments that are racy.
Oh yeah, there's lots of boobs. Lots of boobs. This is not a game for little Timmy. Little Timmy's eyes will burn. Very, very mature game. So it's set in the future where, literally everything has been commodified, including the human body, and as you can kind of expect from that preamble, there's a lot of stuff involved that I can't really describe on YouTube without potentially getting us never applicable
Never.
for monetization.
I won't say right now, but
Yeah.
our dreams. Even though, who knows? Maybe we've
Yeah.
we've crossed that path already. We don't know.
Yeah. But I don't feel like having to go back and censor this video when we finally get ad revenue. But anyways, so yeah, don't let little Timmy play this game. But other than that, the game is absolutely gorgeous. I've had a blast. I will say this, the game's mechanics are a little obscure at first. There's just so much. There's crafting, there's this, there's that. And it takes a little while to get a feel of everything. There's kind of first-person shooter gunplay, although it doesn't behave like any other first-person shooter out there, so it does take a while to kind of get used to. But once you get used to it, everything kind of has a vibe and really feels like a lived-in world where, there's things going on as you're driving by. There's gunfights that are going on that you can actually participate in if you want. As you're looking at this sprawling city, if you see a window, if you can get into the window, there's actually something behind there that was well thought out and scripted. There's somebody that's going to give you a side mission or whatever have you in every inch of this world, and it just feels like, if you're into kind of like the hacker sci-fi, William Gibson's Neuromancer, Johnny Mnemonic, even a Matrix kind of idea of this hacker world, and you kind of want to experience that. Like,
Neo's in it too.
Technically, yes. Johnny as Keanu as Johnny, I'm not sure, because in the game there's a puppy.
It's like it's almost on a cue or something. You're not gonna be happy unless you say hi to the camera. Hi to the camera.
I'm trying to remember if there's puppies in the game. I can't remember if there's actually puppies in the game, but there's puppies here. So yeah, like I've had just an absolute blast driving around in Night City, shooting up Night City, pew 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 pew. What you can do, you can really cause a lot of destruction if you want. I tried to do a pacifist run where I wasn't going to kill anybody, but then I'm not good at stealth, so I keep on having to shoot people in the face to get past the mission. That says more about me, I think, than the game. yeah, it's just an absolute blast. Just for reference, I'm playing on the Xbox Series X. Runs like a dream. I probably should.
They all knew. That's all of our. The world's our fans. They all knew.
But yeah, it's just an absolute blast. I definitely would have recommended to anybody that has the Series X or a high-end PC. I adore the game so much. Every bit of the game is just hauntingly beautiful and well scripted, and it's just I gotta give CD Projekt Red a high amount of praise.
What? We praise CD Projekt Red? That's allowed? Internet.
I know.
Beat this guy up. His address is. Every hater is going to visit you now. The special little anti-Microsoft.
Yeah. Anyways, highly recommend the game if you have those consoles. Now, with that modification, that if you have the Series X and the PC, I do recommend the game. We're going to get into another avenue of it, and that will be on Widied to explain. So what are your thoughts? Would you say that it is worth your time?
Well. Okay, so I would say my experience has been kind of one as ups and downs. I probably follow the trend of the internet a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to say they stole my baby, threw it off a cliff or something, but like everybody else is. But I'll say that, it's been a series of up and down. Now, I'm on the PS5 for all of you people who are just tuning in and maybe haven't seen our unboxings and are stuck with the channel or whatever. So I'm PS5, Pfarcus is Xbox Series X. And so I got that, the game initially, I mean, in the PS4 box, clearly it's meant for PS4. We're not going to really comment on those, so I'm not going to bring it up here too much, although I will say that for the issues that I'm experiencing, which I am, it probably would be unbearable on the PS4. Okay, first of all, overall, and what I also think is making this much harder than it should be, is that the game is great. Like, in terms of the graphics, like to echo some of what Pfarcus said, beautiful graphics, nice sound, gameplay's decent. Like, I have this interesting progression, like RPG progression. The crafting's kind of intriguing. Actually, one of the things I like is kind of like that they've even kind of broken apart like the standard traditional RPG model a little bit and added things like cool factor is one of the things, and they kind of made its own little like path to separate like it from like Skyrim or whatever, those types of fantasy things. But there's also another element of like where you have like cyberware and you can upgrade your entire body. Your body is like this thing, and like it's kind of a play on the idea that everything is a commodity in this world. Everything's commercial, like everything's potentially available to be sold or bought, and it's really neat though, because like they do actually have some substantial upgrades. So like the things that you do attach to yourself isn't like just your range vision +1, or there's some stuff like that, but there's actually some legit like upgrades that like change the flow of the game, which is actually really cool. There's a lot of interesting gunplay hacker elements. I really kind of like that, like in the gameplay side of things. So there's lots to love about this game. The story is fantastic. The characters well developed. The voice acting is amazing. From what I've encountered, like there's like, I think the build up to what I'm about to say is obvious from the fact that like this game should be game of the year, honestly. And from your perspective, it kind of still can be, which is also an interesting thing that we'll probably circle back on together. But for me personally, I would have to say that it is not worth my time right now, and it's because purely a performance thing that Pfarcus and I have kind of discovered, in the sense that his experience is very smooth in all terms. Like he had the minor glitches and stuff.
What the hell?
And even though I haven't seen that many in terms of minor glitches, like I've seen a couple funny things, like one that I was driving the car really fast, or driving my bike really fast, and I wasn't watching where I was going, so I nailed the the van in front of me, and then I went flying above it, and then when I got up and turned around, the van was just gone. So I had to laugh. There was another instance where I just hit a bookshelf, and the bookshelf sort of like whee, sort of floating around in space, sort of like the. That was kind of interesting, but other than that, it was actually entirely smooth. Graphics were pretty. Everything was like really good. No glitches of anything. No weird dongs flopping out of pants, and like I heard was a thing. Just completely normal. The only crazy thing that keeps happening, and I think this might be why there's so much rage, is that the system keeps crashing. Like last game session I had was 5 crashes before I just gave up. And I told Pfarcus, like, I'd be okay with that, like the regular glitch bug scenario, because that's like, I mean, if you played a Bethesda game, that's just part of the experience. You get by, and then eventually they get better. And I think probably initially is what CD Projekt Red was thinking was all that was going to occur. I don't think they realized just how bad it was on PlayStation. And obviously part of the preamble that I forgot to add is that Sony just took the game off the market. That's the part of the thing that we're stepping into. So we're stepping into a situation of reviewing a game kind of well after the fact that some dramatic things have actually occurred. So Sony's taken the game off the shelves, the digital shelves. You can probably still obviously buy it at stores. And, you know, they've basically started giving people monies back because, you know, it's obviously a broken experience on Sony. And I have to echo that sentiment. It feels broken. If I can't play a game for a stretch without it crashing 5 times, the only saving grace that I give it is the fact that the PlayStation 5 is so fast that it just boots back up. And so like the autosave feature of the game is actually also fantastic. It doesn't miss a beat. So I'm never like ever too far behind the 8 ball where I just left off. But it's really pops the bubble, so to speak, in the immersion level, and it really just frustrates me. And I am a bit disappointed to the point where I think now the question for me is, I kind of already invested. Like if I'd known this, I probably wouldn't have bought it. I probably would have just left it until the glitches and everything else kind of got fixed and it became more of a normal situation. Not even the glitches, just the crashes. Even if the crashes, they could just take care of that. I could have a much better experience. Like I said, probably totally unbearable in the last gen. Like I will agree. I won't even tackle that subject. I'll just say don't. And I feel for you if you did go that route. But I think what's important to bring out, even though I would say no from a PlayStation fan perspective, and I think what for our viewers at home, for what you need to process is that there's clearly 2 sides to the situation. But hopefully we are going to illuminate a little bit, and that if you have an Xbox or something with a high-end Microsoft architecture behind it, you know, you're probably going to have actually half decent, because I've already confirmed with other friends that have Xbox Series X's, and there's no issue. Like other than glitches, there's like, and maybe like some, it doesn't look as pretty as people said, which is like big deal. Okay, Crimey River, but like it's mostly the crashing. I think the crashing is the worst thing about this. It feels broken because of that, but like Xbox doesn't have it, and high-end PC doesn't have it. So like you talk to those people, and that's why when you look online, you see this weird flame war coming out, and like, oh, sucky, you know, Xbox finally gets its true exclusive.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, technically can't buy it in the stores, so there you go. You can say that, Xbox. Anyways, I think one of the things that people need to realize is that beyond the rage that obviously people are being a little bit opportunistic and drumming up, I think, in the sense of, I get the anger, but I think a lot of these people just bought it for a PS4 because, you know, whatever, they had a PS4 because there's a lot of them out there, and PS5, same idea, and then they see this crashing thing, and it is a legit issue, and I think you see that weight of that, but you also see a bit of the other side of people like, you know, Pfarcus and other people who bought an Xbox Series X, and they're the ones out there going, it's not that bad, because it isn't that bad for them, right? And I think that's kind of an important thing to highlight.
Yeah, and we talked about this a lot before making this video, is I think it's important to note that, you know, there is such a thing as different experiences that other people are having. Like people, and even in terms of crashes, I've heard some people that are actually on PS4 and PS5, and they're like, I don't know if they're just extremely patient people or what, but they're just saying basically, like, I
just deal with it.
I'll just deal with it.
It's kind of like that experience you were talking about when you had like a crappy PC and then you knew you were playing a game that was too advanced for it, and you just suffer through all that. I think it's a bit of that. Right?
Yeah.
Although it doesn't necessarily excuse that, because these games were technically advertised for last gen. That's what I think what's hitting people the wrong way.
And I think, some YouTubers I've watched brought up a good point that the game's been in development for 8 years, even long before the PS5 and the Xbox Series X were even announced. So,
how is this a thing? How are we talking about this?
Yeah, so it is fair, I think, to that's why we said it was kind of an elephant in the room. It's something that we kind of had to address. I think it is fair to say, you can't just completely excuse them. On the other hand, they didn't cause the sun to go supernova. They didn't cause the Earth's core to crack in half.
You swear by like the amount of videos that people are putting out. It's like every 2 hours, somebody's like, "This is a disaster. This is my baby can't breathe anymore because of CD Projekt Red." It's like, God, people, put some perspective. I get the anger though. Like I do. I just think like I think it almost has this breeze of like cancel culture-y vibe to it, where it's just like they're gonna, cancel CD Projekt Red because of, and some of it's on CD Projekt Red for building that hype machine up 8 years, and then I think that's the thing. Like I actually really like this YouTuber Happy Console Gamer. Shout out. He doesn't know us, but shout out. But he's a cool guy, and like he kind of he had the same kind of disappointment as me, in some terms of like how he was talking about his disappointment, and it was strictly because he got it on PlayStation, and I know what he's talking about, but it wasn't so much like the sky is falling Chicken Little stuff that you see a lot online. It was more like it's just a really sentimental. This is a disappointing thing for him because he likes Cyberpunk just like me and like all the other people that like Cyberpunk, and I get that sentiment. That is true, and and the fact that it's turning into consumer rage is a thing that is interesting, because I do agree with the movement of like this needs to stop. Like this needs to at least be somewhat. There needs to be some safety mechanism that holds us accountable, and I feel like Sony kind of did that by saying you can't sell this piece of crap.
I feel like I feel like Sony did the right move.
Good job, Sony.
I also think though, and this is more how people are reacting than what Sony did, or whether or not CD Projekt Red is culpable. But one of the things I find interesting is a lot of the people are behaving like CD Projekt Red invented glitches. Like this is the first game to ever crash, ever.
Yeah, they're definitely making a point.
Yeah,
like the consumer rage. That's why I said it kind of has that whole cancel culture. Cancel culture doesn't always get it right, but it's like the 10% time it does, it feels really good. And it's like, I feel like that's kind of the case of what's going on here, in the sense of you see a lot of people arming themselves against this game, even though I guarantee you, even if they get their money back, they're buying it again in like 2 months, because it's like it's gonna be it's a really good game. Like I get why everybody's angry, but sit on it, play your backlog a little bit, it'll catch up, and you'll be fine. Now, is it excusable? I don't think that's a question for me. I mean, I'm not a developer. Are you a developer? Are you a developer? Are you a developer? I don't know what goes into this stuff. So, but I can tell you that there needs to be some kind of accountability. I agree with like that general sphere, but like we can't pretend like we're that. Like we're not. We don't know what really goes on. No matter, I don't care who you are, YouTuber guy. Like you don't know what's going on in these lives of these people. You just create all this. It's like when people create all this hatred towards things. They whip up all this hatred, and then the next thing you know, these developers that have worked on this for 8 years are getting all this backlash in their life, and it's like, is that really deserved? It wasn't them that made that decision, right? Like so. I don't feel like the internet, this is probably for the next topic, but I don't feel like the internet ever carries the weight of punishment ever very well. It's just like people whip up a storm, and it's mostly for hits and clicks, and we're trying to not do that in the sense that I'm not, whatever, if you want to do it, you can do it, but I don't, we're trying to bring you a tempered look at things. Like if you like this game, which chances are everybody does, even the people that are complaining like babies or whatever online, they still like the game. And like I said before, that's probably like the biggest portion of where the hatred and all that stuff is that, you know, they're really sad that they're not getting the experience they expected because they know they'll like it. That's me. I'm disappointed, but I'm here sitting here going, am I going to push through? Like, you know, my Sony's PlayStation 5 is pretty fast, so even if it crashes 5 times, it's like what? Like probably a total of 5 minutes out of my life. Like that was the load time of an original game, you know. So it's almost like you just insert that. So it's it's about tempering expectations, people. Like you gotta have realistic goals. Like if you're on a PS4 and Xbox One, yeah, honestly be mad. That's really bad. Like I get it. You get your money back, but you get your money back. You made your statement, right? And you don't really have much of a statement beyond that. That's what we speak with, is our wallets, our money. That's the point. That's what we know about. We don't know CD Projekt Red. When we could speculate, oh yeah, they held back everything. They only showed us the best PC when they ran the game. Well, they were going to do that anyways. They're going to show you the game. Every company does that. I guarantee you, they release a game. They're not showing you the game on the worst stuff. I mean, yeah, it's kind of slippery slope because they should have let release codes, but they were upfront with people. They didn't give, like you were saying, they didn't give release codes, right?
Yeah.
And they just showed you the game on their top end gear, which is what they were always going to do when they made, like, I guarantee you, anytime that, you know, they saw it, you were going to see it on the best PC that it probably doesn't even exist. It's probably like ridiculous state of the art PC, right? Yeah. So I guess people, like, my biggest message is, yeah, it's not worth it for me, but you can see that I don't have the anger. I'm telling you it's not worth it right now because I can tell you up front, I've played enough of the game to know it's a good game. Like, I know that what's there is quality and it's going to be worth it eventually. And I think that's kind of the important message, is to know that. I mean, if you're playing an Xbox, like my friend over here, or like a high-end PC, an Xbox Series X, let's say that Xbox, anything lower than that, I'm sure will have issues. But if you're playing on Xbox Series X or high-end PC, just enjoy the game. You don't have to pretend like it's bad for any other reason. It's not probably bad. I haven't talked to a single person that I know personally. Now, leave a comment below if you have an Xbox Series X or a really high-end PC and you're having the worst experience ever. I mean, I would actually like to know that. But right now, it honestly feels like PlayStation got the raw end of the deal here, sadly.
I like to joke that Sony got all the exclusives, including the exclusive bugs.
Yeah, I guess so. I like to make the joke that finally Xbox got a true exclusive. Although that's still kind of a dig against me. Anyway. It's still not a good PlayStation comment. Anyway, so yeah, I really hope you at home enjoy this content. We do intend to do more reviews. Probably less heated ones, ones with a lot less political clout going around it, spinning around it, whatever. But yeah, so if you do, drop us a like, leave us a
comment,
do a
subscribe. Do a subscribe.
Click a
button.
No, the bell.
The bell.
Ring the bell. Yeah, and then you'll know when we talk stupid online, and share it. Anyways, people, enjoy some Cyberpunk. Don't listen to the media.
Just have fun.
They're not really. CD Projekt Red's really not trying to sneak into your home, steal your dog, feed you poison, whatever people are telling you. Anyways, play the game, enjoy the game. If you can, I'm gonna cry because I can't. But you know, in a month's time, I'll play it more.
When they patch this.
It's not like I don't have enough games in the backlog. Go see that video too, right here. Backlog is real. Anyways, people, peace.
Peace.